What's up, everybody? It's Little Rocker Cutie 2005, also known as Andre, welcoming you guys once again to Late Night Frights. I don't mind that little noise in the background. I was just sliding the box forward, but this week is actually a battle week, and as I usually say, I hope you check out everybody else's battles, and I also want to welcome the new members into the fray. And this week, as I said, it is a battle week, and I'm going to be battling two of my favorite sequels from one of my personal favorite franchises. I'm going to be battling Final Destination 2 versus Final Destination 3. Now, Final Destination 2 picks up right a year after the first one. It's a year to the day of the anniversary of Flight 180, and this girl named Kimberly, played by AJ Cook from Criminal Minds, she's going on a road trip to Florida for spring break with three of her friends, and so they get to the freeway, and of course, you know, typical the formula, she has a premonition that there's going to be a highway accident, big highway accident, of course, and basically, you know, it's her and these people that were involved in the accident, and of course, you know, they have to figure out how to survive, who's going to be next, so on and so on. But the cool thing about this one is that it brings back Allie Larder, her character Clear Rivers from the first movie, as the only survivor of that one. So she's the one who kind of helps the ones who are going through it now. She explains to them what is going on and, you know, why this is happening. But what's really cool with this one is it has a certain twist that involves the people in this one, and I'm not going to reveal what that twist is. You guys are just going to have to watch the movie for yourself and find it out. But now to Final Destination 3, which is my personal favorite in the franchise. Basically, you know, same formula. It's 6 years after Flight 180, 5 years after the highway disaster, and this girl named Wendy, played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead, her and Ryan Merriman and a bunch of her friends, they're all graduating seniors, so they're at this amusement park for, you know, senior night or something like that, you know, graduation night, whatever. And of course, Wendy has a premonition that the coaster's going to crash. And of course, you know, the coaster crashes, so, you know, basically the ones who survived, you know, death's coming for them, you got to figure out how to stop it, so on and so on. But, you know, like I said, it's my personal favorite in the franchise. I think it has some of the best kills, you know, the best stories, so on and so on. But, you know what, we're just going to get right into the battle. So round one is going to go to the casting. With Final Destination 2, you've got AJ Cook from Criminal Minds, you've got Allie Larder, I think them are the only two, like, really well-known people other than Tony Todd in here, so, you know, that's a good amount of casting there. With Final Destination 3, you've got Mary Elizabeth Winstead as Wendy, you've got Ryan Merriman, who most of you might know from Disney stuff. He's playing Kevin, he's the male lead. I'm trying to remember who else. There's, like, I don't know if it gives me a cast on the back. No, just the leads. But there's some good people in this one too. But for casting overall, I gotta give it to part 2 because I forgot to mention that Keegan Connor Tracy from Bates Motel is in Final Destination 2. She's one of the survivors of the highway crash, which is cool because, you know, before Bates Motel, you know, you'd only seen her in Final Destination 2, and so, you know, it's kind of cool to see an actress jump from one horror thing to another, which is really cool. So, you know, for casting, it's got to go to part 2. And round 2, I'm going to go with the story. Part 2 is actually a direct continuation of the first one. As I said, it takes place a year later, and, you know, that's kind of cool because it picks up, it continues the story. Part 3 takes place, as I said, 6 years after Flight 180, 5 years after the highway disaster, but those two kind of tie into this one because Wendy finds out about the Flight 180 thing, and she starts looking up all these other, like, different type premonition stuff that's happened. You know, like, she finds a picture of Lincoln that has, like, a crack in the photographic plate exactly where he was shot. There's a shot where she's got a picture of the World Trade Center, and there's a shadow where the plane's going to hit the building. And then, as a matter of fact, she has a news clipping about the highway disaster from part 2. So it all kind of ties in, which is really cool. So overall story and, you know, premonition-wise, I gotta give it to part 3. So round 3 is going to go to the kills. You know, part 2, you've got some great kills, especially in the premonition. You know, you got the part with the log hitting the officer. It goes right through his windshield and comes out the back. There's a guy on a motorcycle who turns out to be one of the survivors in the premonition. He gets pinned to a log by his motorcycle, basically, you know, smashed in half. There's one guy who won the lottery. he gets stuck under this exploded truck and he's on fire, so that's how he dies. If I remember correctly, there's one named Rory. He's like a cokehead, basically, you know, drug addict. And so he gets hit by a truck because he ended up in the other lane of the freeway when the logs started crashing and everything. But, you know, that's mostly the premonition stuff. But the kills alone are good. I mean, you've got one where 12-year-old, like a 15-year-old kid gets flattened by a huge piece of glass. You've got a cool decapitation in an elevator. You've got what I referred to as the airbag kill. You've got the ending where the grill blows up and kills the kid. I mean, this one is off the wall. But part 3, even the premonition alone, I mean, you've got one person who hits one of the metal poles because he's been hanging on to the side of the coaster after it's gone out of control. And so, you know, he gets knocked off, whacked into a metal pole. Kevin and Wendy's premonition, he gets cut in half. There's 2 of the survivors who get burned to death in a tanning bed, which is probably one of my favorites. There's one I like to refer to as the nail gun kill near the end of the movie. I won't reveal who has that particular kill, but it is a cool kill to see. There's one girl who you didn't know was involved. She gets impaled by, like, I want to say it's like a flag staff, like one of them things you would hold a flag on, like it breaks off and just spears her. And then, like, there's the whole ending with when they're on the train, which is kind of another premonition, but it kind of throws you off because of the way it ends. But, you know, for the kills, it's got to go to part 3. So right now, I think it is 2-1, 3-2. So round 4, I'm going to go with direction. Yeah, direction. So part 2 is directed by David R. Ellis, who also did Cellular. He did The Fourth Final Destination. He's done some good movies over the years. Part 3 was directed by James Wong, same person who did the first one. So you've got that kind of touch there. You've got the experience from doing the first one. So for direction, I got to give it to part 3. Overall enjoyment. Part 2, like I said, I love it. It's one of my favorites in the franchise. I do enjoy this one every time I watch it. Part 3, though, it just has that little bit more of a nostalgic thing for me because I used to love roller coasters until I saw this movie. And then it just made my enjoyment of it that much better because I won't go on roller coasters anymore. But, you know, for overall enjoyment, it's going to be part 3. And so with a total of 4-1, it is going to be Final Destination 3. And like I said, you know, check both these sequels out. Check the whole franchise out. You know, it's a really great, underrated franchise. I hope everybody gets to check it out and enjoy it. And once again, this is Little Rocker Cutie 2005, also known as Andre, telling you to enjoy life, enjoy some Skittles, enjoy some Starburst, keep it forever horror, and in the immortal words of my faithful partner Chris, or Buffy Xenaman on my channel, he always says, eat some chicken, and I'll catch you guys next week.